Hi Yogi, and welcome to another Slow Flow class with me, Oceana. In today's episode, of course, we are heading into our third week of twists, and that means that this is an intermediate level class, and I'll expect you to know what a vinyasa is, how to do it, how to modify it for yourself. I'll also be giving you more advanced options and some more complex postures. In terms of teaching points this week, I would like you again to focus on two new things. So firstly, I would like you to really connect with the ground and almost have a sense that you're sinking your body into the floor as you lift up and expand into the twists. Secondly, I would also like you to avoid yanking your spine into the twist by using your arms to pull yourself in. So instead of really pulling with your arms as you come into the twist, see if you can move from the muscles that support the spine. So predominantly that's your abdominals, your TVA, and the muscles in the back body. So if you move from those muscles, usually it means you come a little bit less deeply into the twist, but you're really focusing the twist on the spine. In terms of props, if you have sensitive knees, you will want a blanket underneath your knees for this practice, as we're doing quite a few kneeling postures. And for some of your balancing poses, you may wish to have a yoga brick handy. If you don't have one of those lying around in your house, then feel free to substitute that with a thicker hardback book that's quite sturdy. So grab everything that you need, and then we'll start in a child's pose at the back of our yoga mat when you're ready. So before you make your way into your child's pose, feel free to possibly double up your yoga mat or otherwise have a blanket underneath your knees for support. As we run through our warm-up exercises, we will spend quite a bit of time in a kneeling position, so if you know that that's not comfortable for you, then do accommodate for yourself. From there, knees about hip distance, walk the hands in front of you, let your chest nestle on top of your thighs, and my personal suggestion, of course, you can keep the hands in front of you if you prefer. Otherwise, bring the hands one on top of the other, either just flat palms, or you could stack two fists so that you can allow the forehead to release onto your hands and allow your shoulders to soften. Just for the first few moments here, settling into this pose. With each exhale, having a sense that the body is gently melting away towards your yoga mat. And possibly thinking about lengthening both your inhale and exhale. Simply lingering a little bit longer at the end of each of your breaths. And of course, if you have an Ujjayi pranayama practice, then this is the time to engage that. Otherwise, simply staying with your natural breath rhythm and cycle. Gently here, blink the eyes open if they've closed. Walk your hands forward. As you inhale here, we'll come into a kneeling position, pressing our hips forward and lifting the fingertips all the way up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, reach your fingertips towards the back of the mat, round your forehead towards the knees, coming into a slightly different version of child's pose. Circle your fingertips all the way around and forward as you inhale, round the spine up towards the sky into your cow pose. And with soft elbows, allow your hips to roll forward, allow the spine to unfurl, shoulder blades drawing towards the spine into your cobra pose. And on your next exhale, reaching your sitting bones back, a slight arch in the spine as you come through cat pose, and let the exhale take you all the way back into your child's pose. Two more times here, moving with the breath. As you inhale, press your hips forward, lift your fingertips. Exhale, round the forehead towards the knees. Reach your fingertips back. Circle your hands all the way around in front of you. On your inhale, round the spine up towards the ceiling. Gently allow the hips to unfurl. Soften the elbows and let the shoulders roll back. Cobra pose. As you exhale, reach your sitting bones back, arch the spine as you come all the way, sitting bones towards the heels, finding our way into child's pose. Final time. Inhale to lift up, press the hips forward. Exhale, draw the fingertips towards the back of your mat, forehead towards the knees. Circle your hands around until they come in front of you and round the spine up towards the ceiling as you unfurl the hips forward, one vertebra at a time with control. Soften the elbows. Keep your eyes at the front of your yoga mat. And on your next exhale, draw the sitting bones back into your child's pose. Inhale, make your way into a tabletop, knees under the hips, hands under the shoulders. As you exhale, step the left foot forward towards your hands. Feel free to use your hands to get there. Keep your right hand on the floor as you inhale, lift the left fingertips up towards the ceiling. From here, we'll circle that top hand forward, down, back, and overhead just one time. And then reversing those circles, take the top hand back, down, and forward. As you circle that arm overhead here, 3 times with the breath as you exhale, almost as if you're using this left hand to pull a lever. Draw the left elbow towards the left ribcage. Inhale, extend the top fingertips. Exhale, pulling down and across. Final time. Inhale, reaching out, and exhale, a sort of half yogi pull-up. And from here, use this left arm, draw the left fingertips back and lift all the way into an upright sort of twisted low lunge. From here, we'll plant both hands over past our front leg. So if you can reach all the way to the ground, then great, but you don't have to. You could be a little bit higher here. And from here, staying just for a few rounds of breath. Of course, if you're all the way on the floor, see if you can walk the fingertips a little bit further back so that you're coming a little bit deeper into that side bend along the right side waist. And gently from there, tuck your back toes under. Start to straighten the front leg. You don't have to straighten it all the way, but it might want to. So that you're coming into a twisted half splits. Now, optional here to stay in this version with the hands down for support. You could reach the right hand to the outside of your front foot. And possibly, if you want to add a little bit of a balancing element, then left hand reaches back so that you can spin the chest open, possibly even taking your eyes towards your back thumb. And finding just your last few moments of breath here. Gently circle your back hand down, frame the front foot with both hands, rebend your front knee and step that foot all the way back into your tabletop position so that we can come on to our second side. As you exhale, the right foot steps forward. Again, feel free to use your hands for a little bit of assistance. And from here, left hand stays grounded. As you inhale, right arm lift up towards the ceiling, circling that top arm just once as you inhale forward, down, back, and overhead. As you exhale, take the top hand back, down, forward. And as you reach the arm over your head, 3 times on the exhale, pull the right elbow towards the right rib cage. Inhale to extend through the fingertips and exhale, pulling down and across. One final time with the breath. From there, use the right hand, reach it all the way back, lift all the way up into this twisted low lunge version. Plant the hands past your right thigh, possibly reaching the fingertips all the way towards the floor. Again, option 1 to stay here. Any of those versions, possibly walking the hands a little bit further towards the back of the mat so that we deepen the sensation and that stretch along the left side of the body. Gently from there, the back toes tuck under first. We shift our hips back, lifting the front toes. Again, we can keep the hands to the outside of the leg here for support. If the balance is very easy, then you can start by bringing the left hand to the outside of your front foot. Possibly the right fingertips reach back. And from there, you can spin the chest open towards the right side, possibly taking your eyes towards your back thumb as long as you don't lose your balance there. And finding a few moments to breathe here. Then gently from there, rebend the front knee, plant the hands either side of your front foot, step the front knee to the back, knees hip distance. When you arrive, tuck your toes under, and gently as you exhale, draw the sitting bones up and back very slowly, making our way into our downward dog, having a moment just to move through the feet, the legs, the hips, possibly a little bit of movement in the spine as well, just settling into that posture, and then finding your alignment, so tucking your heels behind the toes, having your eyes at the middle of the mat, pressing into index and thumb, spinning the inner elbows forward, allowing the shoulders to soften down the back, and possibly staying in that downward dog, having a moment to rest in child's pose. If you want to move a little bit more as you inhale, stack your shoulders forward on top of your wrists. Lower down via the knees or one straight line as you exhale for Chaturanga in slow motion. As you inhale, find your way into the back bend of your choice. And as you exhale, make your way back into downward dog. We'll meet in that downward dog here. We'll have the big toes touch at the back of the mat. As you inhale, lift your left leg up and back, point the toes. On the exhale, draw the left knee in towards the chest, bring the shoulders forward, and step or shimmy the foot towards your hands. Again, feel free to use your hands to help. Now, step your back foot in just enough so that you can spin the whole heel down. And make sure that there's a little bit of space, at least hip distance, between your feet, so you don't want the heels in one line. If you're wanting to use your yoga brick here, then place it underneath your right shoulder on any of the height settings, so you go highest, medium or lowest height, or you don't need to use the brick at all. As you inhale, press into the outer edge of your back foot and the front big toe to lift the arms and square the hips almost towards the front of your yoga mat into Warrior One. Let the shoulders soften, let your rib cage draw in, let the pinky fingers spin towards one another. And gently from there, as you exhale, right hand comes to the floor or the brick. Left fingertips lift as you start to straighten the front leg for revolving triangle Parivrtta Trikonasana. Either keeping the chin between your collarbones or lifting it up, having a peek towards your top thumb. Seeing if you can roll the lower ribs forward, top ribs back. Taking yourself just a little bit deeper into the pose. And gently from there, take your eyes down, bend your front knee. Take your right hand as far forward as you can. If you are holding onto the brick, then take it with you. Left hand to the left hip, start to shift your weight into the left leg so that you can float the right foot off the ground, flexing those toes towards the shin bone. Left arm extends when you're ready for revolving half moon pose, Parivrtta Chandrasana. Had to think about that one. And slowly find your last few breaths here. Maybe having a little gaze upwards. As you exhale, top hand spins down, square your hips to the floor. Draw the right knee into the chest. From there, pressing into your left leg, come all the way up. Reach the fingertips towards the ceiling for Hasta Parangustasana. Bring your left hand to the outside of your right knee. Right fingertips can reach to the back of the mat or land all the way to your sacrum, that last bit of bone on your spine. From there, twist the spine open towards the right side. So have a sense that you are rolling that right shoulder back. Maybe having a little gaze to the back of the mat if the balance is easy. And gently from here, turn yourself all the way forward, hug your right knee in towards the chest and flex the toes towards your face. We'll pistol squat our way down, so bend your left knee as you exhale to come down. Reach your arms forward so you can counterbalance and control that descent. And at the last moment, reach your right leg forward so that you can come all the way onto your sitting bones. We'll have the feet hip distance in front. Shimmy our way onto the sitting bones. As you inhale, left arm lifts and spins behind that sitting bone. Right arm lifts as you inhale. And you're going to want to hook any part of the back of your arm across your left thigh. Keep a gentle bend on your left elbow. See if you can lengthen upwards through the crown of your head on the inhale. And exhale, spin the chest open. Now possibly stay here with the support of your left hand. If you do want to test the strength of your abdominal muscles as well as the muscles that support your spine, then you could float the left arm to the back of your mat and see if you can hold that position just for a few rounds of breath. Really allowing that twist to move from the upper thoracic spine mostly, and trying not to get your shoulders too involved here. And gently as you inhale, lift the arms back up through center. Gently roll your way all the way onto the back body. Let your knees come into the chest and hook the hands behind the knees. From here, have a moment to rock forwards and back through the spine. We'll slowly, when we build enough momentum, make our way into chair pose at the front of the mat. So deep bend on the knees, the feet are together, sitting bones are drawing back, the pinky fingers spin in. Exhale to fold all the way over your legs for Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Now yogi's choice here, you could step back into your downward dog and have a rest in child's pose. If you wanted to float or jump back into chaturanga, then on your exhale, take your eyes forward, soften the elbows. See if you can intend to stay as close to the ground as possible. On the inhale, coming over your toes, finding the back bend of your choice. And let the exhale take your sitting bones back into your downward facing dog. Find your breath here. Take a moment to settle into the pose and everyone else will meet you here. Big toes touch at the back of the mat. On your inhale, right leg lifts into three-legged dog. As you exhale, right knee towards the nose, shoulders come forward. On top of our wrists into tiger's curl, step or shimmy the right foot to the front of the mat. Use your hands for help. And then spin your right heel, so your left heel all the way to the ground. If you're using that yoga brick, bring it underneath your left shoulder, highest, medium, lowest setting, or no brick at all. From there, as you inhale, press into the outer edge of the back foot and the front big toe. Lift the arms as you find your way into Warrior One, Veerabhadrasana 1. Let the shoulders soften, let the ribs draw in. Spin the pinky fingers towards one another. Find your breath for a moment. As you exhale, left hand comes underneath its own shoulder to the floor, right fingertips lift. You could straighten the right leg gradually, spinning the chest open, finding your breath here. Our second side, revolving triangle. Possibly lifting the eyes towards the top thumb. Otherwise, keeping the chin between your collarbones. Deep bend on the front knee. Right hand goes to the right hip. From here, if you're using a yoga brick, plant it as far in front of you as you can. Otherwise, reach your fingertips forward, shift your weight into the right leg, float the left foot and tuck the toes in towards the shin bone. From there, see if you can roll your right shoulder back and lift the top arm into revolving half moon on the second side. Again, finding just a few moments to breathe here, to find your version of the pose. On the exhale, top hand comes down, square the hips, square your shoulders towards the mat. Tuck your left knee in towards the chest and pressing into your right foot, lift the arms all the way up and overhead into your Hasta Parangustasana. Right hand to the outside of the left knee, left fingertips reach back so that you're spinning the chest open towards the left side of the mat. Finding your breath first, finding your balance. And then if you do want a little bit of an added challenge, take your eyes towards the back thumb for the last few rounds of breath here. That left arm comes all the way forward. You hug in your left knee. And as you exhale, bend your standing leg. Control your descent here by reaching the arms out and counterbalancing. And at the last moment, left leg reaches forward so you can come all the way onto your sitting bones. Plant the feet, hip distance here. Slowly as you inhale, right arm lifts up and lengthens. As you exhale, you spin the hand behind you. Left arm lifts as you inhale. Hook the arm across the right thigh. And from here, starting as you breathe in to lengthen crown of the head up and exhaling to spin the chest open. Possibly staying here. If you feel really supported by your abdominal muscles and the muscles that wrap around the back of the body, then you could see if you can make the right fingertips light, possibly even float the arm back. Still maintaining that length in the spine, so we're not rounding the spine, we're not cheating ourselves out of a good posture. We are really working with what we've got going on today in our body. And staying just for a few last breaths here. Let the inhale take you back through center, lift the fingertips, and exhale to round onto your back body, draw the knees in towards yourself. Hook the hands at the back of the knees, have a little moment to rock forwards and back, build momentum through the lower limbs. And when you're ready, we'll meet in chair pose. We'll plant the feet at the front of the mat with a deep bend in the knees, finding that invisible chair behind us. Pinky fingers spin in. As you exhale, fold into your legs. From here, yogi's choice, you could step back 1 foot at a time. You could make your way into child's pose, or if you wanted to come through chaturanga by jumping back, we soften the elbows, we soften the knees, the eyes go to the front of our yoga mat. And with the aim of staying as close to the yoga mat as we can, we exhale and jump back, landing with our elbows bent into the ribs. As you inhale, you come into the back bend of your choice. And on the exhale, rolling back, sitting bones lift into your downward facing dog. Giving ourselves a moment to settle into the pose, letting everyone else arrive and meet us here. From there, the big toes touch at the back of the mat. The right leg lifts into three-legged dog as you inhale. On the exhale, right knee draws forward towards the right elbow, shoulders on top of the wrist. And from there, slide the knee all the way to the floor. See if you can bring your foot, your right shin parallel to the front of the mat and flex the right foot. From there, left knee can come down. You might be able to walk the left foot slightly further back. Now, if your hips are slightly off kilter here, then do place your blanket underneath the right hip so that you can square the hips to the front of the mat. Options for your pigeon pose here are to, of course, stay traditional. You could stay here, you could soften the elbows towards the floor. All of those are great options. If you wanted to take this into a twist with me, then we'll walk the hands over to the left edge of the mat. From there, again, you would need to be able to come to your elbows so that this is not an option for everyone. You want to hook the right elbow into the sole of your right foot. And from there, bring the hands together in front of the chest. Top hand presses into the bottom hand so that you can really lift the chest upwards and take a little peek over your top shoulder towards the sky. Finding a few moments to breathe here, possibly to deepen the twist if you're all the way there. Slowly the top hand comes back to the floor. We'll walk the hands to the front of the mat. And now let yourself lean into the right thigh as you spin the left foot forward. So from here you could keep the left foot in front of your right shin, that's option 1. Option 2, if you are able to hook the foot across the bottom thigh. Option 3, if you're in the sort of jello category of human beings, and like me, you might be able to bring your knees one on top of the other so that your shins are vaguely almost in a straight line. You can plant the hands on top of the soles of your feet here. Find the weight in your sitting bones. From there, slowly hinge forward. The chest aims towards your front, your knees. And if you get the chest all the way onto the knees, then you could walk the hands in front, which allows you to press a little bit more weight into your sitting bones. Possibly allowing the head to hang at that point so that you can release the neck muscles for a moment. And in many ways here, giving ourselves a counter posture to that deep, deep hip opening of pigeon pose. Of course, this is also a hip opening pose, just a slightly different one. Slowly walk your hands back in towards yourself. Spin the left leg behind you, tuck your toes under, make your way back into downward dog. Of course, feel free to rest in child's pose, to stay in downward dog, or final chance for a vinyasa as you inhale. If you wish to, come forward to a high plank. Exhale to lower down through Chaturanga. As you inhale, find the back bend of your choice. And exhale back to downward facing dog. Take a moment to breathe here. Everybody else, if you're not there already, meet us here. Let's bring the big toes to touch at the back of the mat as you inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale to bring your left knee forward, shoulders on top of the wrists. Hover the left knee to the left elbow, slide it all the way down to the wrist, to the floor. And then see if you can shimmy your left shin bone parallel to the front of your mat. Flex your toes towards the shin, and then possibly right knee to the floor. You could walk the right knee slightly further back to deepen the pose. Either finding a more traditional version of pigeon pose if you prefer, otherwise walk the hands over to the right edge of the mat. From there, possibly coming onto your forearms, possibly hooking the left elbow to the sole of your front foot. From there, right hand goes on top of the left so that you have the hands in prayer position in front of the chest. And from there, pressing the top hand into the bottom hand to spin the chest open. Having a little peek up towards the ceiling if there's no neck issues here. And still keeping a little bit of body weight going into your right leg so you're not forgetting about that back leg. Gently, gently release the top hand first. walk the hands to the front of your yoga mat and lean into your left leg again so that you can spin the right foot forward. Again, right foot can be in front of the shin, across the bottom thigh, possibly, like me, you might find yourself being able to stack your knees one on top of the other, shins in one line. Hands can be on top of the feet so that you can lengthen the spine forward and start to hinge the chest towards your knees. Maybe even hands in front of the knees so that you can ground the sitting bones and start to round the forehead in towards the floor. Taking a few moments here to breathe into the hips and the pose, possibly sending the breath into the floating lungs at the back of the body, located towards the lower part of your ribcage. And slowly on an inhale, coming back into a seated position, rolling your feet all the way behind you so that you can come onto your belly. Keep the right hand underneath the right shoulder. The left arm goes out at shoulder height, palm facing the floor. Slowly, as you press into your right hand, roll all the way onto your left hip. Let the left side of your head come to the floor. Now, options here, the right foot can either come in front of you for support, or possibly it's a little bit easier to bring it behind you. If that's worked out and the heel is flat to the ground, then you might be able to bring that last part of your spine, the sacrum, a little bit closer to the floor. And at that point, you might be able to interlace the hands behind your back quite easily. Once that's happened, possibly your left foot could come to the ground as well so that you're able to bring yourself a little bit deeper into that shoulder opening and twist. And then you stay just for a few rounds of breath, possibly closing the eyes completely. Allowing your breath to soften. Slowly releasing the grip of your hands first. The right hand comes in front of your face so that you can roll all the way onto your front body for a moment to swap sides. So bring the right arm out at shoulder height, palm facing the floor, left fingertips underneath the left shoulder so that you can press into the left hand, roll onto your right hip first. Left foot either goes in front or behind you so that you can start to bring your lower back to the floor. Possibly from there, if it's within easy reach, the top hand and the bottom hand can interlace behind you. And then maybe the right ear, right side of the head can come to the floor and you might be able to bring the right foot flat as well. So it's quite a deep shoulder opener. Be mindful to move into this slowly if you're going for the full version. And of course, any variation, if you stopped at any of the earlier points, it's still the same pose. It's just some of us have to go a little bit further to achieve the same outcome, really. So don't get too hung up on achieving any particular version of this pose. Slowly, slowly release the interlace of your fingers. Plant the left hand in front of your chest. Roll all the way back onto your belly here. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders and exhale to press yourself all the way back into a child's pose. Knees wide or the knees together. Let your body rest into the mat for a moment. Allow your breath to settle. And slowly from here, walk the hands back in towards yourself. Round through the spine to come up to a kneeling position. And from there, simply find a comfortable seated pose. So possibly heels in one line or shins crossed one in front of the other. Bring the palms to touch in front of your chest and bow the forehead towards the fingertips. Use this final moment to just give yourself a brief bit of gratitude for showing up in the first place. We all have those days when it's really particularly hard to show up. Maybe today was one of those days. And finally, plant your sankalpa if you wish. So that good intention that guides you into the rest of your off the mat life as you leave your practice. The light in me recognizes the light in you. Namaste, yogi. And thank you so much for joining me in today's practice. Of course, if you made it this far, you enjoyed your class, then do give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Do let me know in the comments down below how you did today. How was your practice? How did it feel? And of course, leave your sort of suggestions and feedback there too. If you have any particular requests, let me know. If you want to find me anywhere else online, all of that information is in the video description. So I hope to see you back on the mat very soon, yogi. Thank you so much for joining me, and bye.